So hi everybody and welcome back to this Unreal Engine 5 full game tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 29, and in this video we want to test our progress bar, which is when I start here the game. You can see I have here the progress bar. I walk into fire, I lose damage, I lose life because I get damage, and this kind of stuff we are going to implement. This implementation already exists in the documentation, and now I'm going to do this here as well, so you can follow here or read just the documentation. So first of all, we go here to our game folder, we go here and create a new folder, blueprints, create a new folder, for example enemy, because an enemy will cause damage. In this case it's the fire, but you can create an NPC or whatever, and then right click here, blueprint class, select actor, call it what you like. I call it BP Fire 2 because I already have one. Then you open this one up, and in BP Fire we are adding first of all a particle system, because that is this fire particle, and this particle I have to choose cascade, but you have to check what kind of particle you are creating, a Niagara one or a cascade, because I use the starter pack and the starter pack comes with the cascade. So I select the cascade one, then I select the particle, then I go to details panel. Here in the particle selection I have imported the starter pack, and the starter pack comes here with fire. I select it, and you can see now we have the fire particle system here. Then we go here again, add one more thing, because we need a collision where the character walks in and the collision realizes this. So we write here collision here on top, then it pops up, and I use here the sphere collision, and you can see we have now the sphere collision, and you can scale this a little bit up when with this one here, for example with this selection tools here. Let's see, with this one, and then like you want, or you can just go here in the details panel to transform to scale, and then do this as well. All right, now compile, save, and you can see now we can already place that blueprint in our world, and that's nice because we can place actors in the world or we can spawn them, and that is very nice because the effects, you can also use this kind for effects and all this kind of stuff while you are spawning them. All right, with that, let's see, what is that? Let's delete this one, go back to our fire blueprint, and now we have to implement the functionality. We switch here to the graph section, we delete this, we select the sphere because our character will run into the sphere will then pop up an overlap event, and that one we are going to implement now. So we select the sphere, we go here to details panel, scroll down, and then here is a on component begin overlap. Let's click this one. Let's select the sphere again because we need also an end overlap, because when we are walking out of the fire. So let's start with the begin overlap, which means our character runs in the fire. Then we select this other actor. This one is our character, so it reacts only to our character. In my case, BP third person character. And this one, we have this one here. And then what we are doing is, after we have the character, we need now call a function which says you are in fire, you get damage. And this kind of damage function, you can make it directly here, but in my case I do it in the game mode, and the reason for that is important variables, important functions I place just in my game mode. So here, right click, then you write here add custom event. I add a custom event, and I call it player in fire, because I already have one. I call it in fire 2, and I add one more custom event, add custom event, and I call this player not in fire, and also a second. And this custom event here should be called when I overlap, and the other not in fire should when I am going out of this. I'm not overlapping the component, so that's there. So the first one should just call this one. We can make this, but before we can call it, we need here a reference, and again we are just creating with event begin play, which is not good. Normally this is not optimized. This will create a hard reference, but it works for demonstration purposes. You should just know avoid hard references, for example with interfaces or other other ways. So let's get this one here. Let's make a reference to our game mode. Get like old time, get game mode, cast it to our game mode, in my case GM game. Promote this one to connect this one, promote this one to the variable here, just out, promote to variable, so we have access it now here. And then you can here get the game mode and then call just the created function here. This is the player in fire. Player in fire 2 in my case, because I already have one. Then connect this. This will call this function, and the same thing we are doing now for when we go out of this collision box. Again here, other BP third person character. And again, we get here the already created game mode, or you can just use this one on top or here, doesn't matter. Then you call player not in fire, in my case, not in fire second. And here now I have the calls, but we have not implemented this one. What I mean with not implemented, we call this two custom events, but we have not the logic here. So let's implement the logic, and like I said, the documentation here has this one. You can follow this one, and I make here a little bit different implementation than the documentation because I use just timer with events. So how we do this? First of all, you can see when I walk into the fire, bing, I need just lose health, and my game mode already has my player health here, the max health and the current health, and we work on the current health because the max health is just for calculations. The current health indicates all time how much health we have in game. So we get the current health, get it, we subtract from the current health minus. When you press minus, it comes to the operator subtract, and then you define how much you want. Let's say I lose all time 10 life when I stay in fire, and then you add to the current health, set the current health this amount here, and that is already our calculation. But the problem with this setting, what I made here, is this one is just one time call. So when I walk into the fire, this one is just one time called. We won't call it periodically, which means when you walk into fire, you get every, let's say, 1 second 10 damage. And to do that, there are different ways. They are doing it with a timer here, and we do this with a timer too. And the nice thing is it's very easy. We just call this timer and we are almost finished. So let's do this. So instead of calling one time, we call here timer. We write timer here, and here are many timer functions, different kinds. For example, timer set timer by function is that what they do, but I make here another approach. I use a timer. Again, I write timer, and let's do it by event. You can use this one. The difference about function is this event is just you can create here a custom event and make it directly here. And by function, you just create here a function, and then you write here the function name like they show it here. And yeah, there are different approaches, but more or less they are doing the same thing, only with different ways. All right, let's go on. First of all, like I said, I need here a custom event. You can just write here, again, add custom event, and then you can call it what you like. Let's say fire damage, damage. And this one you can connect here. Now I have my custom event, and now I can connect this already created thing here. So you can see this custom event will be called by this timer here with an interval, but this interval we have to set. What I mean with set is you can see this timer here has here some options. First, you set how often it should be called. So let's say every half second, no, let's set every 8 seconds or something like that. Also not even 1 second, or let's make it easy, every 1 second. Let's write it 1. And then this one will call still at one time, because then you have to select this looping. Looping means every second call this function, in this case call this event here, because here this event is called every time now. And that's almost it. Compile, save, but we need clear this timer. What I mean with clear this timer, because when you are walking out of the fire, then you are not in the fire, which means this timer is still running, which means when we run out of the fire, we call this here, that is this here, what we have in our game mode. I run out of the fire. It calls the game function this one here, and now I say this function here should just clear this timer, which means just timer stop, I'm out of fire, don't activate again. And how we do this, you drag out from this return value, and we use here the return value because there is some special called function which is cleared and invalidate timer by handle. This means just stop this timer, it should not run. And important here is you are not using this execution write pin here. You are connecting it just with this one here, because this one is saying I'm in the fire, this one activates when I'm not in the fire, and that's it. Compile, save, and that should work. So let's see if this is working. First of all, we have to place our just created blueprint here, the fire tube, in our world where you want. This is my second one. It's a little bit more small, but you can scale it bigger if you like, something like so. That's not the big deal. Now we have it here. Then right click, play from here. Let's test it. So I run into my character, and you see I lose every second now when I stay here live. And then when I go out, I lose nothing. But when I go in again, I lose again. So that's that. That was it already, the implementation. Of course, we have now also implement death animation when we reach 0 life, but this in the next video and so on. You see, it's not very difficult, and if you have any questions like all time, write in the comment section. See you in the next video. Bye, good luck, and like all time, have fun and never give up.